Welcome back, Bravehearts, to the domino effect of normal living. What actually is normal living? Well, let's put it this way. It seems that the majority rule, okay, even if they've been ruled, fooled, and schooled. But let's get to our little story. So let's talk about the major domino to fall first and foremost. The large intestine may be at the end of the digestive tract, but it's the first domino to fall and is known as the second brain. For a good reason, because the health of your intestinal bacteria dictates the strength of your immune system, your mood, and, of course, your energy level. Who would have ever thought that what the medical system continues to attack with antibiotics and what the majority of the population unconsciously allows to hang down and out holds the key to your lifestyle, to your life, to how healthy you're going to be? So let's see what happens when you mistreat your body's assembly line of life and its major immune system like a cesspool instead of nature's natural, life-giving, life-saving organ. Here's some food for thought. Did you know that you are made of 50 trillion cells, but 500 trillion bacteria? You are a walking, talking glob of bacterial intelligence, and your large intestine is life control central. Let's talk about the most important highway that you will ever travel in your life that goes straight down the middle of your body, and it is the only part of you that's open to the outside world. Your digestive tract. Your digestive tract begins at your mouth, this being the front door, and then travels down the esophagus to the stomach and then into the small intestine, which is approximately 22 feet long. It then continues to the large intestine, which is 5 to 7 feet long. In total, we are looking at 30 feet of highway. And this can be the highway to health, or this can be the highway to disease. Listen, that's quite a long distance for food to travel. Even when it's whole plant-based, combined properly, and chewed thoroughly in a calm and peaceful state. Because understand something, the rule is to chew your liquids and to drink your solids. That's how much chewing we need to do. You don't have a second set of teeth in your stomach. Listen, every component along this highway, known as your digestive tract, must digest and assimilate the nutrients in their proper order and time sequence for this process to be successful. Not unlike any other assembly line, the digestion process is a work of art regarding its simplicity and effectiveness. But understand that improper eating and negative emotions can and will derail this life-saving, life-giving process, causing inflammation, pain, swelling, scar tissue formation, crystallization, displaced calcium, and discomfort throughout your whole body. Most people are only conscious of the first 4 inches of this process, this being the mouth. We have become unconsciously addicted to the chemicals, disregarding the taste and nutritional value of food. We are trading 4 inches of perceived pleasure, followed by 30 feet of indigestion, heartburn, gas, bloating, ulcers, angina, Crohn's disease, leaky gut, pain, inflammation, constipation, diarrhea, colitis, oh yes, cancer and hemorrhoids, just to name a few symptoms. And these are just symptoms. Some people call them diseases, but there are no diseases. These are just symptoms that get worse and worse and worse. That's it. So just to name a few symptoms that have been unleashed because of the domino effect of unconscious living, unconscious thinking. Unfortunately, when it comes to food selection, important health concerns such as nutritional value, quality, freshness, the degree of toxic chemicals, and digestive ability all take a back seat to the following factors, such as advertising and brainwashing. You've been programmed. Yes, you have. You've been programmed, and they've channeled you right in to toxicity. Listen, this unconscious programming has not just created a bloody mess, but one heck of a smell from one end to the other end of your body. Your large intestine has now gone from being your body's greatest friend and ally to becoming a breeding ground of parasitical attack and disease. Welcome to the family curse of unconscious living, handed down by well-meaning family members and driven by corporate America because their insatiable appetite to harvest you and your family's health, one piece at a time, for their bottom line. Listen, corporations have no heart. They have no blood flow. They are just entities, and they have a ferocious appetite for money. They do not think about you as an emotional being. They do not think of you as family. You are being sold by the pound. Understand that chemically addicted taste buds and an addicted brain will always cause a distorted shape to your body inside and out. Too often in today's society, the foods we consume simply end up sitting too long inside of us and then end up putrefying in our digestive tract, with the large intestine taking the beating, which in turn unleashes the domino effect of toxic poisons and nauseous gas into that beautiful body of yours. Listen to me right now. Terrain is everything. The bug is nothing, and you believe the bug is everything. But until you have a healthy terrain, you will not have healthy bacteria. You will be riddled with viruses and fungus and parasites. So understand this. When food enters the body already dead and toxic, meaning no or very little nutritional life force, understand this. You are what you eat. Yes, you become what you eat, drink, and think. It's as simple as that. Our Creator did not complicate or create something inferior. Systems and corporations have made us feel this way about ourselves by force-feeding us their toxic, manipulated, controlling, dysfunctional beliefs. Welcome to the harvest, and that would be you. Understand, live foods breed life, whereas dead foods breed, well, you get the picture. Your digestive tract, otherwise highway to health or disease, your digestive tract is a 30-foot journey. The front door is your mouth. The back door is your rectum. What happens between your mouth and your rectum is the deciding factor on how well and how long you will live. The first rule to eating and emotions is you never eat when you are upset. The second rule is when you're preparing your food, put your heart into it. Make what you love. Love what you make, because it will become part of you. It will become you. The third rule is never use the dinner table for a place to discuss family problems. The fourth rule is stay calm and stay connected to your lion heart breathing. The fifth rule is bless your food and give gratitude, knowing that whatever you're eating has given its life for you, and that the closer it is to nature, the healthier and the happier you will be. The sixth rule is chew your food so well that you are drinking your solids and chewing your liquids. The seventh rule, never eat late at night. The eighth rule is do not mistake thirst, tiredness, or being bored as hunger. The ninth rule is do not use eating as a way to suppress your emotions. The 10th rule is digest the Braveheart 12 self-loving steps each day, for the perfect life. So let's get to our story. This condition that the majority have learned to accept as a normal way of life, over time will cause the body's most important muscle, your large intestine, to slowly lose its tone and become flaccid. This will lead to stagnation, putrefaction, and eventually rotting of the tissues, which will eventually create a disease in the body's weakest link. So wherever your weakest link is, that's what's going to blow first. Look, we are unknowingly attacking and creating disease with our day-to-day lifestyles. In health, we call this condition autoimmune disease, which means you are attacking yourself. Your body has learned to attack itself. Think about it. The fix is in, or should I say, your health is headed down and out like your large intestine. When your abdominal muscles become weaker and begin to lack tone, both internally and externally, due to this intestinal backup, your lower back muscles will tighten up and go into protection, otherwise chronic spasm. You need to understand something right now. Where is most of spinal surgery done? It's done in L3, L4, and L5. And believe it or not, whether you want to believe this, the infection that you are polluting into your pelvis and into your low back area is coming from your large intestine, which creates inflammation, which then creates what? You pulling calcium from your spine to buffer down the acidity, okay? And because of the inflammation, you're causing your ligaments and tendons and muscles in that area of your low back to go into beef jerky. And this is the disintegration that's going on with most of the population. So understand, this is due to your lower back's futile efforts to compensate for the lack of tone in your abdominal area known as your core. The back muscles must pick up the slack for the intestines and the abdominal muscles, which are now in a state of coma. Do you realize that your abdomen, otherwise your core, does all the lifting? Not your back. From getting out of bed, off the toilet, in the car, picking up your children, you name it. We need a healthy, toned tummy. We need tummy love and daily cleansing tea every day, because it's what you do daily that is going to protect the largest and the most important group of muscles, which are called your core muscles. 85% of all your energy is created and stored in the core. Look at it. But as we can see, with about 90% of the population, their large intestine is falling down and out or just sticking out, which causes decreased circulation in the whole pelvic region. That's right. Your pelvis is getting blocked off, dammed off, walled off. And when that happens, decreased circulation is only going to add to inflammation, infection, scar tissue formation. All right. And the list goes on. This is where your belt is no longer visible and you can't tell if your shoes are tied. That's right. You've got a tummy that's hanging down and out or one that's sticking out. You should be always be able to look down and see your feet. And if you can't, then guess what? Then you are in trouble. This will severely reduce, understand something, this will severely reduce circulation to this part of your body, affecting the ovaries, the uterus, bladder, prostate, and testicles, and cause a detour when it comes to proper bowel movements, urination, and let's not forget your sex drive. Where's that gone? Most people do not understand by the time they reach the age of 35 or 40, their pelvic region is overburdened with infection, inflammation, scar tissue formation, displaced calcium, yes, and even mutation. Because what is mutation? Okay, mutation is where there's so much inflammation, and we will even call that, what do we call that? We'll either say something's benign, okay, or we'll say that it's cancerous. And the reality is it's the difference in inflammation. And you're never going to have inflammation in your body unless you have infection. And the infection comes from the large intestine 99% of the time. Look, we have a problem. And when the pelvis gets in trouble, guess what? Everything below this intestinal backup, such as your hips, your legs, and feet, will experience swelling, otherwise water retention, due to the chronic inflammation, because you have to understand something. You will always find water where healing is going on or where you're trying to put out the fire of the inflammation that is going to lead to scar tissue formation, calcification, and mutation. If your core, otherwise your abdominal and pelvic area, is not toned and cleansed daily, and I mean daily, with gentle, loving steps, Life-threatening conditions from the bottom of your toes to the top of your eyes will pop up, and that is the truth. How can something so obvious and so debilitating be commonplace? People's intestines are falling out, falling down, and blowing up everywhere I look. How do you look? How do you feel right now? And are you so used to seeing people's intestines falling out of their abdomen or sticking out like a beach ball? And this doesn't even record in your head? This is how this has become such a pandemic, and people are rotting from the inside out and they don't even know it. Think about it. Look, you have a choice to explode, implode, or learn how to dump this toxic load by utilizing the Perfect Day Lifestyle Guide. Okay, also Fasting for Perfect Health Guide and the Braveheart Way Guide in the Doc of Detox library. So please go check it out. It's there. And guess what? It's the best learning you'll have. Look at health is like a language, and it takes time to learn it. Okay? And if we don't learn, we're going to continually burn. And understand the information that the majority have, it's killing them. There's no other words to say it. It's killing them, right? 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease. I mean, those are the statistics. Once you break away and you no longer want to be a statistic and you want to break away from the herd, then you won't get hurt anymore. But you must learn that you must take massive personal action and love yourself well. Self-love is the only love. Self-care is the only care. And then you become the light for your family. Understand that if you are unable to process, otherwise digest and eliminate negative emotions, you will cause issues in your tissues for a lifetime. So what do you think happens when the large intestine backs up and becomes a storage shed for toxic waste and negative emotions? Because where else are you going to hide your negative emotions except someplace where nobody's going to look, which would be what? In the large intestine, in your poop? Because guess what? Toxic negative emotions, they kind of belong there, don't they? But it can turn on you like a silent time bomb. Look at, if this toxic waste and negative emotion cannot be eliminated effectively and processed out of the body, then it must be stored. So your body will store issues in your tissues emotionally, physically, chemically, whatever it has to do until the master, which is you, takes control. Look at, the body will lock it down and wall it off, and it will do this physically. And it will do this even emotionally, okay, for your protection by creating excess mucus, crystallization, internal scar tissue formation, and calcification until the host, which is you, that being you, awakens to become the driving force in this relationship called your life. So when it comes to a weak core, otherwise a colon in a coma, your body will absorb the water from the stagnant waste. I hope you're getting this, will absorb the water from the stagnant waste and compact it in and along the walls of the large intestine known as the haustra, otherwise outpouchings. Where do you think diverticulitis comes from? Diverticuli, diverticulosis. Where do you think colitis comes from? Where do you think hemorrhoids come from? Where do you think polyps comes from? Okay, where do you think all this mucus or bleeding from your intestine comes from? This is all about stagnation. Putrefaction. This is about rotten to the core. So understand something. Layer upon layer of dehydrated fecal waste will build up along the walls of your large intestine, creating an accumulating wallpaper effect. This toxic waste will gradually leak into the bloodstream due to the leaky gut, causing a toxic buildup in your bloodstream. I hope you're getting this. This condition is known as toxemia, otherwise acidosis, which means dirty blood, which means acidic blood, which causes disease to all parts of the body because of the domino effect of normal living. Imagine a garbage truck working all day. Where does the garbage go? Each truck has a compactor. Your body is similar. If it cannot be eliminated, the fecal waste, it dehydrates it and stores the waste in the lining of the bowel pockets of your large intestine until you realize that you must become the master of your own waistline. How's your waistline? Is it bulging out? Is it hanging down? Understand, here's a waistline you want to take care of. At this moment, I'm treating and coaching 5 different people with colon cancer. We must learn to let go, to forgive, to let ourselves and others off the hook. All thoughts have energy, and energy creates all things. Listen to me. Thoughts are the most powerful thing on this planet. And if you don't want to master your thoughts, because understand, 70 to 90% of your thoughts, your programs that you run, they're not yours, they're someone else's. So you're being someone else doing something else. Do you want that, or do you want to find your authentic self? That self-love and self-care are the way, because they truly are the way. If you don't know how to look after your body, who's going to do it for you? There is nobody out there. Why do you think we are crippled as a nation right now? You need to get this. Thought form creates physical form. When you can't let go, otherwise, when you can't go because you're not letting go of your emotions, you're not going to let go of physical things as well. You're going to become constipated. Yes, that would be a constipated thought, which will cause your tissues to rot. Hello, bowel cancer. Until you let go emotionally, you will never let go physically. You're not a garbage truck. You're a creation of beauty. And you were created to create. But because you're unconscious of that fact and you're a normal human being, you don't realize that there can only be one master. And you've got to retrain your brain if you want to retrain your body. Whether down on the farm or down in your belly, if you don't clean out, it's going to get smelly. And you've got to get this. We're talking about trouble down below, guys. So, do you suffer from persistent bad breath? If you do, it's not because of what you ate yesterday. It is the result of what you have eaten days, weeks, months, and even years before. Hot gases rise from your large intestine like any other manure pile. If you saw on a hot summer day and you dug a pitchfork into the manure pile, you'll see all this gas come off. So hot gases rise from your large intestine and into your mouth. This unpleasant taste and smell is the true cause of plaque formation on your teeth due to the years of toxic waste buildup down below within your large intestine. For those of you who suffer from gum disease, just know the root cause is at the back door. It's bum disease, something your dentist forgot to tell you. Oops. But the truth is, your dentist may not have been taught the true cause of gum disease because this would undermine the bottom line of profits for the Dental Association. And I want to say something perfectly clear here. Dentists are terrorists. Most of them. Come on. If they're putting in silver amalgams, which are not silver, it's mercury, poisoning everyone, the fluoride they put in people's mouths, the root canals they do. I mean, seriously, dentists are murdering more people than you would believe. And you know what? It's not a good excuse to say, I didn't realize that. Of course they realized it. And I did say murder. Whether or not you're conscious or unconscious of the fact, you have a duty that if you are a doctor, that you are going to be a good teacher and you are going to do things to help to heal people. I think we all need to take responsibility for the information we pass and the so-called treatments that we're giving. Are we treating people or mistreating them? Understand that colon cancer is on the rise, and so is gum disease. It is estimated that about 1 in 23 people will suffer from colon cancer in their lifetime. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And this time, it's hot and it's stinky. Mints, toothpaste, and mouthwash will provide only a temporary fix, which masks the symptoms, never resolving the root cause, which is bowel rot, which is creating the tooth rot, which is creating your gum disease. Why do people use underarm deodorants and perfumes? The main reason is to camouflage the unpleasant odor of their body. The real cure is gentle daily cleansing of the large intestine, thus preventing and eliminating toxic waste buildup within your lymph system and sweat glands. Let's get to the root cause and quit being such a stinker. Take a minute and feel underneath your armpits. Does it feel puffy like a fat buildup? What this is severely congested lymph nodes from backed up waste in your intestines, not allowing your lymph to drain. So understand, your lymph drains into the large intestine, but guess what? If there's a cork in your butt, then you're backed up in your large intestine, nothing comes in from the lymph. When you back up your lymph, you're going to have swelling behind your legs. You could have it in your ankles, under your arms, your neck, your groin. Okay. And what do you think that's going to do to the breasts? Oh, yes. You clog up under your arms, you're going to clog up your breasts because they're made out of fat and they become storage containers for this toxic waste. That's right. The body will make fat when it needs to because of infection and inflammation. And guess what? If you've already got 2 storage tanks up here, why don't we utilize those? And that's a big reason why breast cancer is going through the roof. Just because there is traffic coming into the city doesn't mean it's not backed up for miles. No other organ in your body will become toxic unless your large intestine is already a toxic bomb. Let me ask you a question. Why is it that young children do not smell? Why does the strength of body odor increase as we age? The answer is the following. The more waste we have and the older it is, the worse it smells. As a result, we're a stinking mess. In an attempt to mask unpleasant odors emitting from the body, we have turned to $1 billion business for help, the toiletry industry, where we add more chemicals to an already toxic-ridden body. It is important to note that almost all bathroom toiletries and perfumes are toxic and harmful to the human body. Even some of the so-called natural products are questionable. Underarm deodorants, such as antiperspirants with aluminum, shut down the sweat glands, contributing to chronic lymph conditions and, how about breast cancer? We've all been intentionally programmed to tell our body to shut up and shut down. Instead, we must lovingly listen to our body because it is telling you something's wrong. It loves you. So understand something. Pain, inflammation, swelling, crystallization, internal scar tissue formation, okay, which is caused from inflammation. And understand people are filled with scar tissue, and that's what's blocking their circulation, which is limiting their life. And let's not forget about calcification of our joints, tissues, and organs. Okay, because these are all symptoms of a dysfunctional relationship with your body. Okay, that all begins with the first domino, your large intestine falling down and then leading to infection, inflammation, and then you know how the story goes. Your emotions and symptoms are your body's GPS. Understand this, your body loves you and your life depends on these symptoms to guide you and bring you back to alignment, back to love. So you know what? The medical system teaches us that inflammation, pain, swelling, okay? All right? Stiffness are all enemies. They're not enemies. This is your body saying, I love you. Can you please wake up? Listen, having a loving relationship with yourself must come first and foremost if you wish to create the perfect day. If you wish to create the perfect day lifestyle for an amazing life. So gently cleanse each and every day. Why would you let it pile up? Remain the sweet-smelling beauty that you are. To do this, we must get media out of our lives. Do not get consumed by savvy marketers and their BS, otherwise dysfunctional belief systems. Remember what they want, who they are, and who and what they work for. Remember who you are and what you really want to see in your life. Look at, we need to erase and replace dysfunctional beliefs and take our life back. Or better still, why don't we just stop giving it away? Okay? So welcome to the domino effect of normal living. Welcome to the domino effect of unconscious living. I'm going to tell you a story, a true story, about what happens to us when we do not have access to self-empowering tools to master our own mind, body, and life. And let me just say this right now. If you're going to go where the majority goes, then you're going to get what the majority gets. And I can't make that any more plain or simple. 1 and 1 are not 11, they're 2. So understand, where the mind goes, the body must follow. For the majority, they do not have authentic thinking. They have stinking thinking, which are dysfunctional beliefs handed down by a corrupt and contaminated society that wishes to rule and school our health for their bottom line. Have you ever thought that if one thing hadn't happened, a whole set of things never would have either? Like dominoes in time, a single emotional event repeated enough, kicked off by an unstoppable series of events that gained momentum and spun your physical and emotional life out of control, and nothing was ever the same again. Welcome to the herd, welcome to being a statistic, and welcome to not using your own brain or retraining your brain to self-love and self-care. Look at, once this domino effect of unconscious living kicks in from the dysfunctional belief systems you have been unknowingly running for years, you will wish you could have stopped it. But like a runaway train, it is called the pain train to the end. Listen, this is something that is not talked about because this is the goose that laid the golden egg for the medical and pharmaceutical corporations and everyone else that focuses on mistreating you instead of training you how to release the unseen practitioner from within, the genius from within. Listen, the real you, that would be you, the authentic you. But you need to want to go inside because nobody wants to go inside. Oh my God, there's this sick and evil little girl or boy in there. Are you kidding me? There is only beauty and love and the miracle of healing inside yourself. You must go in or you're going to end up doing without. So I need you to get this. With all the brilliant minds in natural health and the countless medical breakthroughs, 60% of the population is obese. And even if they're not obese, 80% look like they have a tire wrapped around their waistline, which is their large intestine falling down and out because nobody really, truly cares. And most natural health practitioners are not really understanding the human body either. And I'm not putting anybody down, but if we were so good at our job, with so many natural health practitioners and medical practitioners, why is it that 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease? So let's talk about the mother of all organs. Let's talk about where 80 to 85% of your immune system is actually generated and stored. Let's begin our journey called the domino effect of so-called normal living. As I mentioned earlier, toxemia, which is also known as dirty blood, is caused by a backup of stagnant fecal waste and buried toxic emotion in your large intestine. What better place to hide undealt with and unwanted emotion than in your poop? Listen, let's talk about what happens when that starts to get out of control. Your bloodstream, the river of your life, it's just a matter of time that this stagnant toxic fecal waste and the parasites that it breeds in your large intestine will invade your bloodstream. Because understand something, what came first, the mosquito or the swamp? Well, we know the swamp and then the mosquito, okay? You get to decide. You get to decide when you heal the environment in your body. There is no parasitical attack. So understand something. This toxic spillover into your circulatory system opens up a door of infection and inflammation to the rest of your tissues, organs, and joints, because your circulatory system is the river that flows everywhere. Okay? Arteries, veins, arterioles, venules, lymph vessels. Listen, this spillover is a dangerous thing, and it is the domino that makes all the rest fall. Look, it follows that if your large intestine is operating properly, you wouldn't absorb this toxic fecal waste or these parasitic invaders. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, this is not the case with most of the population and those we love because of a condition known as leaky gut. We continue to be programmed with not just incorrect information, but out and out lies when it comes to caring and loving for our bodies. We have been given a health manual rooted in deception created by the systems that we follow and live our lives by, which is a really big mistake. This so-called healthy government-approved lifestyle will give you a lifetime of pain and suffering on an emotional and physical level because it is not only nutrient deficient, but deficient in love and caring. We are what we eat. We are what we think. We must put an end to stinking thinking. Look, it is hard to measure misery when everyone you know is in the same bloody mess. When your bloodstream becomes overburdened by these deadly toxic poisons and lacks essential nutrients to support life, acidosis is the only result. It is the last domino, and it can be life-threatening. So let's talk about live or let die. When your blood becomes overburdened and congested with toxins, your liver is then called into action to help filter out these toxins from an unhealthy bloodstream. Look at your bloodstream is the most critically buffered system of your body, far more sensitive than any other. Your arterial blood must maintain a slightly alkaline pH. Arterial blood pH is 7.35 to 7.41. The ideal pH of arterial blood is 7.41. A person is considered to have acidosis when the pH of blood is 6.8 to 7.24. A blood pH drop below 7 can lead to a coma and even death due to severe acidosis. Under 6.8 pH, death comes a-knockin'. pH is like a dimmer switch, and only you hold the power to turn it up or down. When we are dealing with a dysfunctional large intestine, the liver must pick up the slack and work overtime to maintain the sensitive pH balance needed in your bloodstream at all times. Your liver already performs over 500 different metabolic functions for your body, but now it must filter the toxic waste that the large intestine is continually spilling over into your bloodstream. Look it. It's only a matter of time that the liver becomes inflamed and exhausted. What do we call that? We call it chronic fatigue. That's what chronic fatigue is. It's not a disease. It's a toxic system. Look at. Eventually, the liver screams to the large intestine, "I can't believe this. Sewage disposal is your job. Are you trying to deplete me of my energy and poison this beautiful body?" "No, of course not," replies the large intestine. "I can't do my job. My master has been made to believe that she can eat glicky, sticky, gooey, processed, fried, chemical-laden, new, and improved GMO foods, and I don't think things are going to change until she changes. She is an emotional mess. She's up and down like her weight, and her diet is a riot. So please, don't pick on me. I'm looking for answers just like you, and I'm falling into a coma." And to add to this, she watches too much TV, gets her health tips from magazines and her friends who know just as much as she does about health and emotions, which is almost nothing. My master keeps talking about new and improve, but I never get to see it, much less feel it. Now I've got 12 pounds of toxic fecal waste stuck to the walls of my intestine. I've lost all my muscle tone and I'm pooped out, liver. Please forgive her, though. She knows not what she does. I believe it's called the family curse. I understand, my dear friend, says the liver, and I realize the responsibility must always fall back to our master. Does our master not know that gentle daily cleansing, structured water, and a whole plant-based nutritional diet, along with the 12 Braveheart loving steps, is the key to set us all free from this pain and misery? Well, the word around the body is she thinks all this pain and inflammation is normal and it's out of her control. The colon suddenly bursts out in a chuckle and says, I'll show her what out of control is when she has diarrhea, and I turn her blue eyes brown to help her turn her life around. So understand, everybody's up in arms here. The colon, the liver, but guess what? The master is sick, fat, and exhausted. The liver, being a team player, continues to work overtime until it becomes chronically fatigued. In turn, the owner of the body starts experiencing chronic fatigue. Go figure. The normal effect of the domino effect is in action. So now the master has aches, pains, and inflammation throughout her whole body. So being the robot that she has been programmed for, off to the doctor she goes because now she's a 911 emergency. And guess what? This is because that's all she knows. The doctor says, you're doing fine for a person of your age. He adds that chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, which means pain in the muscles, are average and quite ordinary for a woman of your age. So he writes a prescription to numb her senses. Thanks a lot, doc. He may consider her an average person, but the symptoms inside her body are anything but normal. But then, he was never trained in the laws of nature, was he? When doctors are taught that pain is the enemy, then symptoms become simple, fast moneymakers for Big Pharma. You will no longer be a statistic when you learn the game and change the rules, or even break the rules. Because guess what? Pain, inflammation, and swelling is your body's GPS, letting you know that your relationship with your body is not aligned with self-love, which creates self-care, the only true health care. Here's an idea. Instead of society drugging her to shut her down and shut her up, why don't they just get their hands out of her pockets and focus on her beliefs and her bowels? I'll tell you why. Because getting to the cause takes caring. You heard what I said. Getting to the cause takes true caring. Being involved does not mean caring. Why don't they just come from their heart and find out why she's truly hurting? She's a human being, not a human doing. Treat her like one. Do you realize that roughly 10 million Americans have fibromyalgia? But this has been growing every day. Because what does it mean? It means pain in your muscles. That's all it means, okay? So this means that 4 out of 50 people, or 8% of the entire American population, suffers from fibromyalgia, the second most common musculoskeletal ailment after osteoarthritis. 75 to 90% of fibromyalgia patients are female because women are the canary in the coal mine. That's right. Fibromyalgia is acidosis on the move, and it can create internal scar tissue formation, crystallization, and calcification in every muscle, joint, and organ it comes in contact with. You're getting eaten alive from the inside out. Fibromyalgia is just a symptom of a poorly managed body, physically and emotionally. I hurt all over. Life hurts all over. Perception is everything. You are what you focus on. And to reinforce this dysfunctional belief that we are helpless and hopeless when it comes to caring for ourselves, the medical system lowers its definition of good health every few years to suit the majority, because majority rules, and the majority is being ruled, schooled, and fooled. So let's talk about pain, inflammation, and liver disease. All of these are due to toxicity, okay, which is becoming more and more common because of our increased exposure to an inflammatory lifestyle due to dysfunctional beliefs emotionally and physically that we are getting from the systems that we trust out there. Understand, continual inflammation in the liver will cause a fatty liver. Do you realize that 6 and 8-year-old children are now getting fatty livers, okay? Which will damage the liver and create internal scarring, which will eventually lead to liver failure or cirrhosis of the liver, if unchecked by the master of this body. This fatty inflamed liver condition created by a sluggish large intestine will never improve as long as the domino effect of so-called normal living continues. The liver plays a crucial role in the detoxification of the body by cleansing the blood of toxic chemicals. So harmful toxic substances that enter the bloodstream are broken down and metabolized by the liver into water-soluble form. Made harmless, they now can be flushed out of the body through the large intestine or the kidneys. All health problems start off as something small, but for most, they will turn out to be your worst nightmare because we have turned our backs on nature's laws to embrace man's rules. You know what must be done. You must take your power back, but first, you must stop giving it away. Symptoms of liver toxicity may be acute, severe, and very noticeable, or come on gradually as a chronic problem. Did you know that it is possible for non-severe liver toxicity to cause chronic conditions such as fatigue, depression, mental illness, headaches, skin conditions, low libido, fibromyalgia, and yes, even cancer? Skin disorders often develop because of toxins flooding the bloodstream, as they cannot be efficiently detoxified by the liver fast enough. Since the blood cannot be cleansed at this rate, excess toxins are then released as a safety valve through the skin to protect vital organs and bones, thus causing an array of skin disorders from eczema to skin cancer. You need to understand something, okay? Age makes no difference to toxemia. Your skin is the mirror to your large intestine. How is that looking for you? Seriously. Let's talk about allergies. Allergies are another symptom of a dysfunctional large intestine that has overburdened the liver, causing even more liver toxicity. Haven't you noticed that most of the population has one or more allergies today? A liver that is overwhelmed with toxicity will malfunction and will not be able to effectively break down any new incoming toxins. And this is what allergies are. Understand, this condition will create a hypersensitivity to the external environment, chemicals, and foods that you ingested. Foods that were once digested with ease will now turn on you, like you haven't seen that happen. That's happening everywhere, and that is a true epidemic. If your body cannot process it, then it becomes a poison. In other words, you are becoming allergic to life because of a compromised immune system. 60 million people now suffer from seasonal allergies, a large percentage of these being children. This is the worst it has ever been. Go figure. Check your children's bowels and your beliefs, mom and dad, and get to the root of the problem, their little bowels. Look at fatigue, loss of appetite, nausea, abdominal pain, and vomiting are also often symptoms of a toxic liver. Palpation of the liver is a method used by practitioners to check whether there is tenderness or enlargement of the liver. Do not confuse trapped gas caught in the upper right side of the large intestine for a gallbladder or a liver problem. You're just having a fart attack. That's all. Pull the cork out by gently cleansing each and every day with daily cleansing tea and using things like tummy love, especially when it comes for your children. And understand, daily cleansing tea and tummy love, they're not laxatives. They're not stimulants. They're non-toxic. You can do them every day, twice a day for life. And the only thing you're going to do is alleviate 85 to 90% of all the symptoms that the average so-called normal person suffers from on a daily basis. Let's talk about ammonia. Rising levels of ammonia in the blood is another symptom of a toxic liver. Ammonia is the byproduct of mainly animal protein being broken down by bacteria in the intestines, but the intestines are now in a coma, or at least we know the tone is gone, so they're weak. And what happens? Well, dead animals rot if they don't move through quick enough. So understand, this ammonia problem is resolved by reducing emotional stress, proper food combining, better food choices, reducing animal protein, drinking structured water, but first and foremost, drinking daily cleansing tea to eliminate this stagnant putrefaction. Now let's get back to our story. Okay, so here's the skinny on fat. So now the liver must do much more than its share, right? We've got that established, that the colon is going into coma, is lacking tone. Okay, it's laying limp in the bottom of your abdomen. So now the liver must do much more than its share of the cleansing, because the toxic spillover caused by a backup of a lethargic large intestine, which is now, by the way, falling into a deep coma. When this happens, the healthy gut-brain connection turns bad, like the good bacteria have done, and now they've turned bad. And we enter into a severe communication breakdown, causing conflict between your gut, otherwise your large intestine, and the brain. And that's why now we've got gut-brain disconnection. So when that happens, all hell is going to break loose, or all health is going to break loose. Look at the gut bacteria speak to the brain 9 times for every 1 time that the brain speaks to the gut. But when the large intestine was clean and healthy, these were 9 healthy, beautiful messages instructing the brain what to do and how to do it. Now that the good bacteria have gone rogue, gone bad, the messages are also bad, which releases bad chemicals and hormones, which create bad moods, making you crave bad foods, which just adds more inflammation, scar tissue formation, internal scar tissue formation, calcification, and let us not forget mutation for 50% of the nation when it comes to cancer, because you don't know the answer. And the answer was that colon, that large intestine, that is in coma. So welcome to the abdominal effect of normal living. This all stems from us unknowingly downloading dysfunctional beliefs, which are meant to create self-hate, pain programs throughout our body, throughout our lifetime. How's that working for you? These dysfunctional programs fatten the bottom line of chemical-laden processed food corporations that eventually lead to greater profits for big pharma due to the domino effect of normal living. And not just for big pharma, but what about the implant industry? Have you noticed the screws, the plates, the stents, the rods, the new hip, the new knee? It's never going to stop. They're going to take us apart one piece at a time if we allow them. Understand, this program is working because Big Pharma is increasing its sales by 20% every year, with North Americans consuming 50% of the prescription drugs sold worldwide. Are you getting this? I hope you're getting this. Due to constipation, we have become a zombie nation, okay? We're sleepwalkers. We're drugged up and dumbed down. The more your body becomes overburdened with toxins, the more energy blocks will be experienced on an emotional and physical level. What do you think is one of the major side effects when the liver is overloaded with toxins. The liver is no longer capable of burning body fat efficiently or ridding the body of these excess toxins. So we will make more fat cells. And understand, emotional blocks, physical blocks, and when you get physical blocks, you're going to have pain. And so pain equals physical blocks, blocks equal pain, disease equals blocks. Are you getting this? So understand, these toxins now must be stored in fat cells. If your liver cannot get rid of these toxins, you have to make fat cells because you've got to get the toxins away from these vital organs to protect the body. So these toxins must be stored in fat cells to protect the body, so your body goes into fat cell production protection mode to reduce this toxic load on vital organs. This is a safety mechanism that will continue until the master of the body awakens from their coma. Oh, and when they do, then the large intestine will awaken from its coma too. So hello weight gain, hello yo-yo diets, hello yo-yo emotions. Let me say this another way. When the body is overloaded with emotional stress and toxic waste, it transfers its energy away from burning calories and redirects the energy to take the toxic load off the body by creating a toxic storage dump made from fat cells and eventually cellulite. Welcome to Fat and 40, the beer belly, the mid-ridge bulge, the spare tire, and let us not forget the love handles. Understand, this had to happen. Toxins must be taken as far away as possible from vital organs. It's called fat, and that's that. So, now that we've got our colon in trouble in a coma, we've got our liver up in arms, well, what comes next? It would be your kidneys in chaos. So let's talk about it. The liver now must call on the neighbor. And what is his good neighbor? But the kidneys. That's the next in line in the domino effect of normal living. The kidneys aren't so happy about taking on this extra burden either. They already felt the added pressure, both physically and chemically, from the large intestine for years. Your kidneys sit just behind the large intestine, which has become a cesspool of leaking toxic waste. The kidneys scream out, "Great, now I'm going to get kidney stones," which are calcium deposits, also internal scar tissue and crystallization from all this inflammation, because now I'm taking on all the acidic waste because guess what? The colon's in a coma. And the liver's in crisis and has chronic fatigue. I'm already on fire, says the kidney. I'm already on fire because the master of this body hardly drinks any water, and it's definitely not structured. So the kidney says, "You pee me off. My job is to purify body fluids. We're not meant to take on these bowel and liver toxins. What are these poisons?" Well, I can tell you this much. The liver states, they're not toxins occurring from normal metabolism. These are chemicals and toxic waste from the large intestine that should have never entered my master's mouth in the first place. What was she thinking? She wasn't. She's been programmed. Welcome to the new and improved sleepwalkers. I demand a clear answer, not a toxic one, and don't kid me, says the kidney. The liver answers back, "Nothing's clear anymore, especially our body fluids. I have done my best. You can talk to the large intestine, but I doubt he will even listen because he can't even answer. He's been down and out and in a coma for some time now." The kidneys then shout back, "Easy for you to say. You can still function with only 25% of your liver and rehabilitate much easier than I can. Once I get into trouble, I'm in big trouble, and it usually just goes from bad to worse. Call me a worrywart, but I don't want to end up on life support, otherwise dialysis. I'm too young to die." The kidneys reluctantly must now carry this acid torch. And They're burning mad with inflammation. Emotions are running high. They do their best, but as the months go by, chronic lower back pain, kidney inflammation, and continual bladder infections set in due to the overload of toxic waste and the colon still in a coma. Other warning signs of the domino effect are beginning to show up from the overworked kidneys, such as kidney stones, sweaty ponds, puffiness under the eyes, and frequent urination with little volume. Internal scar tissue, crystallization, and calcification are now forming in the kidney tissues due to severe acidosis. And last but not least, excess weight gain around the kidney region. Hello, love handles. Most people don't even realize that where you find fat, it's storing all of this acidity and toxicity to save a vital organ. Listen, fat cells must be created to store toxicity and acidity, or someone may have an unexpected trip to the hospital with kidney failure. The kidneys can no longer take on the brunt of this cesspool from the large intestine. The master of the body is now waking up throughout the night in a cold sweat from dialysis nightmares. From here, the next domino falls into the holding tank known as the bladder. Let's talk about the bladder. It sits just in front of the sigmoid colon, the last part of the large intestine. The tissues of the bladder have been under attack physically and chemically for quite some time now from Mr. or Mrs. Constipated, which they don't believe they are constipated, but it's not what comes out, it's what stays in. The kidneys are taking on the toxic waste that has entered the body from the fecal debris that's stuck to the inner walls of the large intestine. Constipation is the root cause of all bladder infections. The same toxic situation is true for the prostate, ovaries, and uterus that reside in the same neighborhood as the bladder. It is no coincidence that there is a high incidence of fibroids and endometriosis and cancer in the pelvic area. Go figure. The pelvis is a big soup bowl. And how could that soup bowl fill up with infection unless you had a coma of a colon in coma? That's right. And so you become a screen door and all of this waste comes in and gravity brings it down into the pelvis. And then you get inflammation, scar tissue formation, crystallization, mutation, and even hip replacements, knee replacements. And people just don't get it. Most practitioners don't get it. So all this increased toxicity equals increased acidity, which equals tissue inflammation, which leads to internal scar tissue formation, resulting in decreased circulation and increased stagnation and putrefaction. And what else? Destruction of vital tissues in the human body. Hello, cellular mutation. This is the domino effect. This is the results. A fibroid, a tumor. Welcome to the inflammation nation that most of us have become. How many people do you know find themselves going to the washroom 2, 3, or even 4 times a night? This toxic waste that has come from the large intestine is now forced into the kidneys and will irritate and inflame any tissue it encounters. Remember, it's an acid trip, which will cause issues in all tissues. This toxic sediment is not only irritating the bladder, but also its neighbors, the prostate, the uterus, the fallopian tubes, the ovaries. This toxic waste is now settling and building up on the bottom of the sac-like organ known as your bladder. The bladder tissue becomes inflamed and irritated due to this toxic waste buildup. The bladder becomes hypersensitive, contracting into spasm to protect the inflamed tissue from stretching. Due to this situation, the bladder can now only hold a small amount of urine before pain and spasms occur. This toxic waste will continue to irritate, inflame, and degenerate the bladder tissue, causing internal scar tissue, crystallization, and calcification all to form. Understand this, 50% of the female population is dripping urine into their panties throughout the day. And this is because of the irritation, the scar tissue formation, and the calcification that's messing up the valve that is supposed to hold the urine and allow it to be released properly. This can all be reversed, but not until we wake somebody up out of a coma. So understand, this condition will continue until the cause is uncovered. This being the master of the body, and the master of the body is the large intestine. And you've got to wake it from a coma. And then guess what? When you wake it from a coma, you've got to get the tone back into the large intestine. It's a muscle. It cannot sit flabby and then you expect to be toned. If it's flabby, you become flabby. So now you understand the mystery of why you must urinate so often, because you've infected your bladder. What most call a mystery, I call ignorance, because take action knowledge of how to master your body is being withheld from you on purpose, because it does not serve their bottom line. So here we go. We're still talking about the bladder problem. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's the third time you feel pressure in your bladder. So it's out of bed and off to the bathroom again. Relief is only seconds away. Finally, you get to the toilet. But what's this? Only a few drops come out. You've got urination constipation. You must understand this. Take a look at the people in your life that have serious health conditions. You'll know when their life is being threatened, otherwise coming to an end, because the ability to go number one and number two can't be done properly. They're on their way out. And you can get this or not get this. And I know nobody's ever said this before, but understand something. Your plumbing needs to be humming. We either eliminate or become eliminated. Let's get back to our story. Remember, your bladder is hypersensitive from the inflammation and the lack of elasticity due to the internal scar tissue formation and inflammation. Many people now have to wear Depends because of the constant drip, drip, drip. With every new disorder, corporations fill another order. The valve in your bladder that holds the urine back has become infected and inflamed for so long that the tissue has become weakened and unable to close the valve properly or open the valve properly due to hardened internal scar tissue, just like the bladder has become. Maybe you recall I said that scar tissue spreads like a weed if not dealt with. And it'll do it anywhere in the body, because a dam will only become bigger and bigger and bigger as the river flows. And understand something, scar tissue is the issue in the human body with premature aging and creating disease. Just as a steel valve will rust, scar tissue and crystallization will make a valve made from tissue sticky and unable to open or close. How will you ever rest and repair with all this interrupted sleep? Drip, drip, drip. How many people in your family wear Depends? Well, that would be hard to say because everyone wants to hide it, because that is a dysfunctional program. But understand this, it's a multi-million-dollar business. How many people need to take sleeping pills? It's a multi-million-dollar business. For every ill, there's a new pill. And until they figure out the pill, they say the ill doesn't exist. These companies are counting on you to never take control or have control. They're counting on you to remain a sleepwalker. That's right. They've got you believing there's nothing you can do for yourself, so you better pick up some more of those big boy diapers at Costco. But now you have a choice. Depends or daily cleanse by mastering the perfect day lifestyle for the perfect life. As I stated earlier, your body talks to you continually whether you've been taught to listen or not. So stop, look and listen, and learn to feel what it's really telling you. And understand something, I get it. This is called, real health. And real health is like a language that you do not understand. This is why we built what we call the perfect day consultation. And understand, let me just say this, for those who are interested, for $150, we will consult you. You will fill out a case history. I will take a look at it. The master consultant will look at it. We'll review it. And then you'll get an hour consultation. We'll send you the audio. But better still, now you've got a roadmap from the minute you rise until you gently close your eyes. No more Band-Aids. Let's get a roadmap. And then you've got lifetime support. All your calls matter. You matter. And you can call us as often as you want because everybody wants independence. And this is Independence Day. This is when you become the master of your body. So unless you answer the call of nature, you will have more than a broken heart. You will have a broken bowel. Your body talks to you continually, whether you're listening or not. A negative emotion or pain is your body's way of telling you that you are not in alignment with your health or your higher purpose. Ignore this loving communication or try to suppress it with drugs, and you will pay more than just financially. So understand this, your body will warn you until all health breaks loose. First, a sluggish, toxic, large intestine, then the blood, then the liver, then the kidneys, bladder, prostate, uterus, ovaries, and soon the lymphatic system will become toxic and put into a life-threatening situation. These symptoms all come into effect because you've never been taught to understand what your body is trying to tell you. It's called body talk, and it is the most important communication you will ever have. It is the most important relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. Look at pain and odor are major signals from your body crying out for your help because you have been spoiled rotten. Until you master the mind, you will never master your body. You hold the power to create or destroy. Choose wisely, Braveheart. So get this. Ignoring or shutting down these symptoms, otherwise warning signs, does not make for a good relationship. Just as when couples do not communicate, they suffer and create pain in their relationship. If harmony is not reached, divorce may be the only outcome. If you have not learned how your body communicates with you or you continue to ignore your body, then pain, premature aging, disease, and maybe even premature death may be the final chapter in this love story called The Domino Effect of what? Normal living? When an emotional issue is not dealt with, it will become an issue within the tissues of your body. It would be wise to have a heart-to-heart talk with your body and learn to listen. It's not just your body, it's your buddy. It's your buddy for life. So here we go. The gut-brain connection is still shut down and broken, so there is still no proper communication happening between you and your body. The first logical and most basic step has not been taken, Potty Training 101. And the second, but most important step is erasing and replacing toxic beliefs that have been downloaded, into your subconscious unconsciously. So now the kidneys can no longer take on the extra burden of toxic waste. They have reached their maximum threshold. They're overworked and starting to break down. And now your bladder is in a tatter. Your skin is known as the third kidney. So next in line to carry the acid torch for the colon. Signs of this may include premature aging, wrinkles, age spots, dry skin, itchy skin, dry patchy skin, eczema, psoriasis, boils, abscess, acne, and even skin cancer. So what emotional blocks have gotten under your skin? What has gotten under your skin? If personal action is not taken to awaken the large intestine from this coma and get the cork out, then the lymph system is the next in line to break down from the domino effect of normal living. So understand something. So here's the deal. You saw the domino effect. We started with the colon in a coma, and now guess what? All of the organs are up in arms, and now we've become the puffball. We're talking about the puffball syndrome. It's not weight, it's water. By the time the full force of the domino effect of the colon, liver, kidneys, bladder, and skin reaches the lymph system, your body will be under full attack. But understand, the lymph system has been backing up on itself since the beginning of the domino effect when the large intestine started to go into a coma. The lymph system has not been able to dump its toxic load into the large intestine due to the large intestine walls being clogged with mucus, waste, and scar tissue for years now. So, how's that for the gut-brain communication, constipation breakdown? The lymph system is a major part of your immune system. Welcome to the puffball generation, when we begin to look and feel bloated on a daily basis. When your body reaches a state of toxic, acidic overload, it will retain water, causing the body to gain excess weight. This is a built-in safety mechanism because all your detox organs are now on strike. So why is the body retaining water? It retains water to dilute the toxins, hoping to put off the inevitable internal scar tissue formation, crystallization, calcification, cellular mutation, disease, and organ failure. There will also be a sharp rise in the fat cell production to keep the body safe from this increased toxic overload. No one suffers this long and this much through choice. Your beliefs make and shape you, but are they truly your beliefs? We suffer because of normal living. What are some of the symptoms we experience with a toxic lymph system? Well, the symptoms of a toxic lymph system are a sudden increase in weight, hard time losing weight, puffy face and feet, swelling of the lymph nodes, ovaries, uterus, and prostate inflammation, breast swelling and inflammation, foul-smelling armpits and or groin region, profuse sweating, or never sweating due to total lymph system blockage. Check your armpits. If you feel a fatty deposit under your armpit, it is chronic lymph congestion that can lead to breast disorders and yes, even cancer. Toxic waste overflow to the breast tissue from the lymph nodes creates swelling, tenderness, pain, cysts, fibroids, and tumors. 25% of women will experience breast cancer, and here lies a major part of the answer: unconscious living through misinformation. You can run for it, you can jump for it, but until you go for it on a massive personal level and become the master of your body, you will be in for it. And I'm talking about you will be in for a painful life. So understand, lymph congestion causes water retention, which leads to swelling of the face, hands, feet, legs, abdomen, also dry skin, skin disorders, achy joints, achy muscles, cellulite, and a weakened immune system. The body will always choose water retention and fat cell production first and foremost to store the toxic burden of waste and negative emotions that cannot be processed or eliminated due to dysfunctional beliefs and programs, and let's not forget, a dysfunctional large intestine that's still in a coma. This life-saving process of fat production is to keep the toxic waste and toxic beliefs as far away from the bones and vital organs as possible until we learn to master the mind and awaken the unseen healer from within. Since all breasts are composed mainly of fatty tissue, they are ready-made storage tanks for toxins, as I mentioned earlier. Breasts are toxic magnets when the body is unable to keep up with fat production due to the overload of toxins and unable to get rid of its toxins. When the lymph system becomes blocked, your body will retain water. That's a given. When this happens, the impulse for most people and doctors is to reduce or stop drinking water. What a mistake. You know what it's like? It's like the person with hypocalcemia, too much calcium in their blood, doctors will tell them to stop doing calcium. Well, they're right as far as supplements go, but they need to do calcium ion therapy, which you can see if you go into my library and you go to the calcium ion therapy guide, or if you go to store.docofdetox.com and click on calcium ion therapy, and you're going to understand something. You can reverse all of this. And the only reason why somebody has so much calcium in their blood is because they're in big trouble. And their blood is trying to be buffered down because it's so acidic, and it can cause coma, or it could end a person's life. So that's why we get hypocalcemia. That's why we get water retention. That's why we create more fat cells. It's all about inflammation. It's all about acidity. So understand this, not drinking enough water will only add fuel to the fire, creating more of a toxic burden, inflammation, internal scar tissue formation, calcification, and mutation. Now would be a good time to introduce plenty of structured water to hydrate, and daily cleansing tea to get the cork out and awaken the large intestine from its coma. For a lot of you, you know when you have become a human elevator, when you eat or drink something and you swell up like a balloon. At this point, not only your size, but also your weight and emotions will fluctuate on a continual basis. At this stage in the domino effect, the only thing still working properly is the elevator of weight and emotions, up and down, up and down, up and down. This morning your belt is on the 4th notch, and by tonight it's on the 2nd notch. Today you can take your rings off. Tomorrow you can't. This morning your shoes fit, but by supper they're way too tight. When you're tired, these elevator symptoms magnify, and they'll become worse and worse as time goes on, as you lose more energy. Look it. You go on a weight loss program and you lose 10 pounds in the first 10 days, but by the following week, a couple pounds are gained back. This happens because you have not opened the door to proper, gentle daily detoxification, whole plant-based nutrition, structured water. But the most important step is to erase and replace the beliefs that support an unhealthy lifestyle. And to do this, we must embrace the Braveheart 12 loving steps. Please take a look at the video in my library. So understand, these toxins that are not being eliminated efficiently must now be diluted by your body retaining excess water. This extra water retention will give a false weight gain, but understand it was necessary to protect your tissue cells, bones, and vital organs from becoming mutated. This is a built-in safety mechanism to shield and reduce the damage until you flush your body of these toxic pounds of inflammation and restore the laws of nature. If you get tired of this ride, push L for lighten the load and get off this emotional elevator called the domino effect of normal living. So now the domino effects of unconscious normal living have gone full circle. All the major detoxification organs are fed up, okay, and up in arms, while one of them is still in a coma. First, the bloodstream took on this toxic burden from the large intestine. Then it was passed on to the liver, then the kidneys, bladder, skin, and then lymph. The body has more built-in safety mechanisms than one can even imagine. But when the master is asleep at the wheel, all health can break apart. Now, before we go any further, just understand, when you start having lung problems, it's because you're filling up from the bottom up, inside out. And understand this, the lungs will be always the last one to get it. So we need to go back and start at the very beginning with the large intestine and detoxify if we wish to restore the lungs and drain the lungs of toxicity. And if you are dealing with a lung problem, make sure you take a look at our infinite iodine and nebulize, because that can restore the tissue. All right, let's get back to our story. In a last attempt to save the day, your brain calls an emergency meeting with all the organs showing up except for one. Guess who that is? The large intestine, which is still in a toxic state of coma. They all agree that the large intestine has become a breeding ground of toxic chemicals, parasites, viruses, bad bacteria, fungus, and toxic beliefs. that are poisoning the rest of the body. So now, a consensus is reached to temporarily help remove the burden of toxic overload on the other organs caused by the mother of all organs, your large intestine. The first step is whatever water that we can take from the organs and the body's tissues without causing severe dehydration must be sent down to the large intestine to loosen up the toxic log jam. So, massive action needs to be taken in order to flush out some of the encrusted fecal waste, which has caused this life-threatening domino effect to take place in the first place. The second step is to create a fever to burn up negative microbes within the body and maybe kick in some vomiting for extra measure. All for one and one for all, until the master heeds the call. So guess what? Now you have diarrhea. Why diarrhea? Well, almost all cases of diarrhea are caused from chronic constipation or holding on to toxic beliefs that make you sick to your stomach all the way down to your core. Constipation does not mean you do not go to the washroom. It means that the waste from the large intestine is not being eliminated efficiently. There are people who go to the washroom 3 times a day but still have colon cancer. Also, not everyone will have diarrhea at this point. They are the unlucky ones because diarrhea is a safety valve, and without it, you run the risk of heart attack, stroke, or other threatening conditions such as cancer. I know diarrhea is an inconvenience, but don't we feel much better on an emotional and physical level when the cause of the problem has been temporarily reduced in hopes of buying time until the master of this beautiful body takes back their power to heal on all levels? This means that you would have to unconditionally love yourself in the way that self-care and self-love becomes something that you do every day, every moment, because this is the only way that we can wake up instead of breaking up. Well, now we're pooped out, but relieved. Even though you feel tired from the diarrhea, your body can finally start to rest, restore, and regenerate itself with some of this toxic load eliminated because we pulled the cork out. You got to get the cork out because we drain from the bottom up. Your large intestine is now eliminating loose stool. This will continue until the chemical and physical pressure is removed from the other organs. This domino effect will keep repeating itself stronger and longer each time until you have learned the importance of gentle daily cleansing, Wolf non-surgical to get rid of the scar tissue issue, to get rid of all the knots in your abdomen, okay, so that you can flow properly, along with structured water. But most important of all, the erasing and replacing of the dysfunctional beliefs that created the domino effect of normal living in the first place. Understand this. Where the mind goes, the body must follow. Your thoughts make and shape you. They always have. But they haven't been always your thoughts. Look it. You are the greatest healing machine ever created. So prepare for greatness. Learn how to create the perfect day every day. It's your God-given right. Look it. Doctors are trained to only treat symptoms, all right? They're there for emergencies, and if you keep going to them, you'll become a 911 emergency for the rest of your life until you are willing to unleash and awaken the unseen practitioner from within. All the complaining and all the explaining will fall on deaf ears. I hear you. I feel you. Never, ever give up on you. Believe in yourself and have faith in your ability to totally cure yourself. Love is the answer, but self-love is the cure. For without total self-love, there cannot be total self-care. There cannot be total self-healing. And self-healing is the only healing that will ever be permanent. We've given the medical system and all the other systems and corporations over 100 years to prove themselves. And since that time, we have seen the human race drastically decline in health to the point that before the American Medical Association came into existence, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease were virtually unheard of. I hope you're getting this. The medical system is now the #1 leading cause of death in North America. How many more of your family members need to become a statistic before you are ready to awaken the practitioner from within? If you wish not to become a statistic, then learn the rules of this fun-filled, life-threatening game called Planet Earth. We are all born healers. It's time to reclaim your God-given universal right to an outstanding life. And for an outstanding life, you're going to have to stand out, which means you're going to have to break away from the herd that's getting milked of their money and then sent to the butchers, right? Isn't that where the herd goes? So you have a choice to go from treatment to treatment, suppress your emotional and physical pain with toxic drugs, or be trained to become the cure that you're searching for. That would be you, the real you, the authentic you. Look at. Over the last 40 years, I've created what I believe to be New World therapies. Not only are these therapies and techniques the most simple and enjoyable to learn, but they are the most powerful. We prove this every day with our guarantee, yes, our guarantee, that the first treatment with us will outperform all other therapies. And I'm talking about Wolf Non-Surgical bodywork. I'm talking about our perfect day lifestyle that we teach you. I'm talking about the Braveheart emotional 12 loving steps. Listen, we have couples, families, and caretakers coming to us from all around the world for our personal treatment and trainings to learn the most powerful, anti-aging bodywork, along with creating the perfect day on an emotional, physical, and nutritional level. We also have world-leading certification programs for those wishing to become New World practitioners, such as Whole Life Coach certification, Wolf Non-Surgical certification. We're here. And understand, the practitioner that you're looking for is inside yourself. For more information on certifications, please go to www.newworldpractitioner.com. And for those of you who want to come for personal treatment and training, whether it's with yourself, whether it's a couple of you, whether it's a group or it's the whole family, or whether you want to bring your caretaker to have them learn Wolf Non-Surgical and how to teach you on an emotional, nutritional level to create the perfect day, please go to www.personaltreatmentandtrainings.com. And for those of you that would love to just stick your toe in, why don't you attend my 3-day online course called Healthy to 100 Summit? Please go to healthy2100summit.com. So we've talked today about the domino effect of normal living. And understand something. Let's not be normal. Let's be natural. Let's take a look at our life and ask ourselves, who should become the practitioner of this body? It should be you. Listen, there's a genius inside of you. You have unlimited potential, but due to the beliefs, the programs that you did not know that were downloaded into your subconscious, you have limited healing. Let us help you discover and uncover the authentic you, because your potential is totally unlimited. God bless. Thank you for joining me. And remember, 3, 2, 1, you got this, Braveheart.